I think of an opening, and here's what I came up with. Okay. Okay. Here's what I came up with. Okay. Here's the opening. Okay. Do you like to have sex?
That's all.
Of course you do. Yeah, of course you do. I mean, look, like guys, we're gonna talk very openly here today. We're gonna be talking about sex energy and spirituality. We're gonna have some fun with it. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna just explore the subject. But yeah, I was coming up with an opening. I thought, best opening. Do you like to have sex? But you know, I want to start off with just presenting you a thought, something to just absorb and contemplate. That sex actually can be experienced in many different ways. So the one way that the main, when we think of the word sex, we just think of the physical expression of sex. And that would be what we call the material. When I say we in the yogic tradition, we would call that the material expression of sex is the physical act of sex. But actually in the spiritual world, like Srila Prabhupada would say, sex is there. If it's there if it's happening in the material level, it's happening on the spiritual level, but it is not the same. It is actually of a higher quality. It is not a physical thing. Mm-hmm. So in the physical world or the material world, we experience sex energy as a physical coming together. But in the spiritual sense of it, it is a higher experience. And it can be if you think the physical act of sex is pleasurable, you can only imagine what the spiritual realization of sex can be. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's a great subject. It's something that's not really talked about too often. I know I'm a little shy about the subject myself. I told Emily, I was telling her all this stuff that I'm learning. And then I'm like, but I don't want to talk about it. And then she reminded me of a time where I pushed her to just talk about what was coming through. And she so nicely karmically gave me the same pushback. So thank you, Emily, for making me get online and talk about sex.
And ask everybody look how calm and still I'm sitting today. Usually I'm like squirming out of my chair. I'm just like, let's see you go, Nick.
Let's
see you go.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Anyways, I think we're gonna have a lot of fun about it. Nancy Louise is already saying, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. So guys, first of all, thank you so much for tuning in here to the Akashic Show. As you could tell, we always have a great time here every single Friday. If it's the first time you're tuning in, welcome to the Akashic Show. Welcome to the Akashic Academy page. You want to stick around on this page all day, every day. We've got shows coming to you live all throughout the week, and we've got some new shows coming to you that are going to be so beneficial for you and your life. So if this is your first introduction to the Academy, thank you so much for being here. If you don't know who we are, let me introduce you to the Lady of Leisure, which has become her new title over time. Emily Harrison is the founder and director here at the Akashic Academy. She is a wife, a mother of 3. She is certifying light workers all around the world to read the Akashic Records. If you're not familiar with the Akashic Records, it is known as the Book of Life. It is that space where all knowledge is held, and you can get those answers to the questions that sometimes haunt your soul and haunt your life. And we all have questions, and we're seekers. That's what makes us come to a place like the Akashic Academy. We have a natural tendency to seek and want to seek out knowledge. And the Akashic Records is the best modality to being able to tap into that inner wisdom. So, Emily, welcome. Welcome to the show. I feel like I'm interviewing you. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Akashic Show.
Hell no. I'm interviewing you today, friend. I'm interviewing you today.
Oh,
so I'm going to hijack the interview at this point. Thank you very much. It truly is an honor and a pleasure to sit here at the helm of this movement with you, my friend, and magnetizing all of the amazing light workers who are coming to really participate in the rise of the light worker. The Akashic Records have been a quantum accelerator tool for me. Meaning when you learn to access that level of knowledge, just like Coach Nick was talking about, how when you learn to examine sexual energy from not the physical standpoint, but from a more spiritual standpoint, when you start examining your life from not the physical standpoint and from the spiritual standpoint, which the records allows you this deeper, more dynamic perspective. at what is really going on that's causing you to create the situations that you're creating in your life, to react the way that you do. It really allows you to see and dynamically understand your own patterns. It's a self-actualization. It's a self-realization process. What I love about what we're going to talk about today is learning to transmute your sexual energy. This is also a quantum accelerator. Why can't I say that? Quantum accelerator tool. Maybe because I just made up the word.
It'll go into our dictionary of made up words.
Exactly.
Oh, I made up a new one. I have to tell you, I made up a new one this week called, I meant to say politics, but I said political. So political, which I found it kind of funny because I find politics such a serious thing. People get all weird about politics, but political, it has this tickle to it. So anyways, we can add that.
I love it. I definitely need to make a note. Political.
It's the funny side of politics.
It is.
Political.
Tickle. Speaking of tickling, Coach Nick, when I don't know how I'm going to draw this together. I was like,
where are you taking this one? Yeah, let's see you reel this one in. Yeah.
You first tickled the heck out of me when our relationship was a bit of a slow unfold. We were friends for quite a bit before we really dove into working with each other. And as my friend, you reached out to me at one point and you were like, "Can I give you a little tip about how you're sharing your message?" I'm like, "Fine." And so as I let go of that resistance and I showed up and listened to you, that was a huge turning point in our relationship. You gave me a piece of advice that I took, and literally overnight, my mission, my success, my magnitude began to expand. And like, you have those moments where you get tickled in life, where you get lit up, where you expand, where you create more space. You did that for me, and you continue to do that for me. You do it for the members here at the Academy. You're really bringing that energy of expanding and standing in our mission and creating businesses. I was so excited to post a lifestyle shot of me skiing with my family yesterday, and then my phone died. But in my mind, I was just like, thank you so much, Coach Nick, for helping me create this lifestyle, because truly, me feeding my soul out there, playing with my family, connecting with my kids, and being in nature is so important to my own personal growth and my spiritual growth. And that's something that many times, like, we shove aside. We put ourselves last, because so many times you pay all the rest of the bills that you got to pay, and there's not enough left.
That's right.
But you're helping light workers to stand in abundance, which will change the planet. You know what I was realizing the other day? My kids happen to go to a pretty wealthy private school. Now, while my life is increasing and I am able to go skiing with my kids, I don't pay for the private school. I'll just tell you guys, they're all on scholarship because Mike works there. But we had to leave some gear because we couldn't fit it all in our car. And we just left it out by my husband's car to pick up. And London said, well, nobody's going to steal it here because they're all rich kids. And all of a sudden I thought, holy crap, when we stand in abundance as a society, think of all of the problems that go away. There's no need for anyone to steal anything. When there's an abundance of health, when there's abundance of ideas and creativity and prosperity moving through a planet, this is what we all really need to own and stand in. And that's the energy that you are bringing here, Coach Nick. What's really cool is we begin to examine, like, the emotional ways that we show up to participate in the way we're creating life. We examine the physical ways. We examine the spiritual ways. Examining the sexual ways of how you guys can take the knowledge that we're going to give you today and expand whatever it is that you need to expand to support your growth is exactly what you're going to get today. You're going to get it from my friend, Coach Nick, too, because he's going to do most of the talking. But I really love all the aspects of our relationship and what we can dive into together and really open up for people. So thank you for doing that with me, my friend. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Let's puppet some people.
Okay.
Some people have been puppetized. So again, if you're tuning in right now and you've first time you're watching us, maybe what are they talking about? But every single week, we just pick our favorite comments, things that stand out to us, and we turn those people that wrote those comments into puppets. And we literally we keep our puppets. We have stacks. I've got a whole drawer. Like I'm gonna eventually like have to just get a room for itself, for all these puppets. And so if you want to become a puppet, then make sure you leave some comments below. And also know if you're leaving comments below, you might be puppetized. So, be warned as well that, but we definitely want guys to have fun. So, leave comments below and have the opportunity to become a puppet. Emily, you want to go first?
I do want to go first. Okay. Oh, yeah, I always forget to get my drums over
Where's
here.
Where's your drum? Yeah.
I know. I got bongos here today. I played these in intuitive development this week. Okay, I'm going to drum roll you. Actually, I don't think I can follow you up today. We have a special surprise for everybody. I think I need to go first because I don't.
Yeah.
Actually,
I'm on point today.
All right, so I'm going to give myself a drum roll.
Okay.
I puppetize Ashley Coswell. Ashley talked about having a breakthrough in her relationship. And last week, seriously, was all about breakthroughs with the eclipse energy, regardless of if you experience massive amounts of creativity like I did, or you got your life shook up. We are all having breakthroughs. And sometimes you can miss the fact that you're having a breakthrough because they can be subtle. Sometimes they're explosive, sometimes they're subtle. But I love that our community is having breakthroughs. I've had a lot of breakthroughs myself over this past week. And I know that the law of association is so real, guys. Get in the space with people who are having breakthroughs. And Ashley, thank you for being one of them and holding that synergy for the rest of our crew here. All right, you ready for your drum roll?
Totally ready.
I gotta make this the best drum roll I've ever given.
Boom, awesome. And here we've got Richard. Look at that.
Look at that.
Best puppet ever. Richard Andre Lapointe. And Richard Andre Lapointe, he had a nice quote last week who said, the 7 billion souls are also in the field at the vibration of love. We love them all. And I just love that quote. And not only do I love Richard's hair, so if you don't know Richard, go check out his profile. This is like, I didn't just make this up. Like his hair is like, he's got that Albert Einstein kind of thing going on. And clearly he's a smart man because he understands unity consciousness of oneness, understanding we're all human beings on this planet and we're all part of the cosmic family. So thank you so much for tuning in, Richard. And thank you so much for being my best puppet effort. You helped me, Richard, whether you realize this or not. I hope you know it, but you helped me up level my puppet game. So watch out, guys. My puppets are going to a whole nother level.
Oh, I'm so excited for you to tell the secret about everything that's up leveling you, Coach Nick. First, let me tell everybody a little bit of news.
Okay, let's do some news.
In all seriousness, we're expanding like crazy around here. The Academy is growing. Our network is growing. We are welcoming Katie Bray to the network February 4th, Monday at 9 a.m. Katie is bringing us Live with the Lights On, and this is really designed to help you integrate spiritual practice on a moment-to-moment basis within your household. And this is so, so important because we talk about how the microcosm continues to be reflected in our life in so many ways. You can shift so many things about your life by focusing on your home and symbolically seeing the nature of how you can shift things in your own space. So I am so excited to be welcoming Katie Bray to the network, to our family here. And I also want to invite you guys who are not yet members of the Akashic Academy. You got to dive in and check out and see what's going on inside of this space. We have been working in intuitive development for the past month on manifesting. Manifesting is a huge theme of the energies right now during this eclipse time, during the gateways that are opening to really support our expansion. And I really love how it ties in with how Katie is bringing knowledge and bringing it down to the microcosm, down to, the day-to-day moments of your life. In intuitive development, we've been talking about how you do that with manifesting. Manifesting looks different in the 5D than it does in the 3D. We work specifically this week with expanding how much joy we can hold in our life. If any of you guys have been working on manifesting and expanding your previous limits and you're coming up against your own ceiling and wondering why, there is a dynamic understanding to the balance of this process. Not only do we need to send those energies, those vibrational energies out into the planet, but when we receive them, we have to recognize that there's an expansion that needs to happen within our own being. There's a reason why you hit your ceiling before, because your body, your light body, your emotional body, your thought body is holding its maximum amount of joy. So to learn how to expand your own vessel, to be able to hold these big dreams, these big goals that we are manifesting, that we're learning how to sharply and quickly and easily manifest during this time, we're giving you this understanding, this dynamic knowledge, and creating ceremonies for you to energetically shift and create that in your life and doing it in the collective. It is one of the most powerful times of my life, of my own personal expansion. I know our members are exploding like crazy. So I really want to invite you guys to dive in. I will post the link up here for you. It is $44.44 a month to join our membership. And you get access to 10 exclusive workshops and trainings every single month that only our members get access to. Coach Nick does mindful living every Monday. I teach intuitive development on Wednesdays. We have other programs in there to offer you guys to help you, to help you grow and to support you, because you're so important. So you got to dive in. It's time. All right, Coach Nick, with no further ado, spill your secrets.
Spill my secrets. All right. So we're talking today about using sexual energy for dynamic spiritual experiences. So first of all, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, is that when we think about sex generally, in the general sense of the word, we think about it on a physical level. I know some people said, "Oh, I'm in my 60s. I'm not interested in sex," and that's fine. But that's only thinking about sex in one paradigm. So again, that's the first thing, is we have to think about sex. We are multidimensional people. We are multidimensional beings. So when we say, I'm interested in sex or not interested in sex, most people are only thinking about it from a physical level. And what we're going to be talking about today is a non-physical non-physical level of sex. So, but we have to make the distinction that because you are multidimensional, there are different dimensions to you. You also experience different dimensions of what sex actually means. So the very first dimension is the physical level, which is where most people are at when they think about sex. And that is only expressed in a physical way, two people coming together and expressing themselves in a physical way. That is one way to express sex. When sex is used, when that energy though is used and held within the body, so rather than expressing it in a physical way, when someone practices what's called, in yogic terms, we call it brahmacharya. These are people who take vows of celibacy. This is the real reason, by the way, that priests and swamis and stuff take vows of celibacy. It's people think, oh, they're trying to repress sex. It has nothing to do with repressing sex. It has everything to do with mastering, becoming such a master of your own energies. Okay. Now, when it is done in a repressive way, it is going to cause major pain and suffering. And that's what it's been done. Like, I remember going to church and them just saying, don't touch yourself. Don't have sex. Don't
I remember
do these
the youth
things.
pastor saying that. I totally just had a flashback to Benji standing up there, and he's got a little receding hairline and his red curls and his glasses, and talking to us about not masturbating and youth.
That's right. Yeah. Like, that's kind of like in church and stuff. And it's like, don't do that. That's not, you're a sinner if you do that. And they're kind of like, and they don't really, at least in my experience, I shouldn't pay, but as a young boy, I was like, okay, I'm bad for doing this, but I just saw my girlfriend's bra strap for the first time, and I'm like, oh man, right? Right? And so, so we got to like think about the reality of that and being like, okay, that's like, but then all of a sudden there's this guilt around it. But in actuality, the real science behind it, or the process, is to use that energy, because what is sex energy? It is life energy. Literally, it creates life, right? When a man and a woman come together in the physical act of sex, they can create a baby, a human being. A life can be born through that act. How beautiful is that? Now, let's take it to a creative level. Sex energy, when someone holds on and learns to transmute that sex energy through meditation, through different techniques that can be learned, through purposely and consciously actually stimulating yourself, but then not letting it go, and directing those thoughts in a different way, what ends up happening is your vibration ends up increasing tremendously. And because your vibration increases tremendously, you then become open to receiving so much intuitive knowledge. You end up becoming, you end up having tremendous amounts of energy that you can put into creative projects. Now, I'm not making this up. This has been talked about for thousands and thousands of years with yogis. It is known on high level people of success. I was learning from Emily Sting, apparently does this. You know? All right. This is something that is known. Napoleon Hill, in the book Think and Grow Rich and Laws of Success, talks about this. He talks about sexual transmutation is the way to go. Our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, as you said, talked about being a powerful man. He talked about Mahatma Gandhi, how Mahatma Gandhi, because Gandhi at the age of 37 took a vow of celibacy, even though he was married and such, he learned to control that energy. He had such determination, he could literally spark a nation to rise up and free themselves, like you got to think about the power behind this, right? Now, it was interesting. I was talking to a guy, I was having this conversation with somebody who was interviewing me yesterday, and we were having this conversation, and he was talking about, like, we were just having an open conversation, and he was talking about, like, the idea of, like, that we're atoms, at a physical level, we're atoms made up. And if we split an atom, we could create a nuclear bomb. Like, imagine the energy that is stored within an atom. Well, what if you could take that energy and not blow it up, but actually direct it into creative projects? What would happen to your creative projects? The energy that you would put behind what you do would have such momentum and pace that you would get into a flow at creating with such ease. You would see that life literally begins to unfold with you, like, just with such ease. And there would be such an attraction factor to what you do. Now, this is a half-hour show, so we're not have the time to get into techniques and all these type of things. The point being is that what I want you to do is to talk about your sex. I want you to start to think about sex, not just on the physical level, but I want you to start to think about sex on a spiritual level and start to see how this energy in your own life can be played out and used in a tremendous way. And in this way, you're really going to have something that you're going to seem superhuman almost to the people around you. And it's not because you're doing it to see that, but all I'm saying is you're literally going to create such a vibration within yourself that it's going to explode you into very dynamic experiences, both materially as well as spiritually.
Awesome. Did you want me to say something? I'm just kidding.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm done.
And scene. Okay, well, I want to get the audience participating. I want to know how many of you guys have ever used this or played with this, or the idea has come up in your mind before. I will just be honest. I have absolutely used this technique before. As soon as I began recognizing the different ways that we can use and shift and move energy through our body, I began playing with a lot of different things. It's not just the sexual energy, but I play with my inner vision too, and how do I expand that and bring more power into that? When you begin to look at the ways that you are already using the energies that are here and available, and you allow yourself to just have a completely different perspective and treat a higher perspective, a more spiritual perspective, you're going to recognize that there were a lot of things that you missed, that there were a lot of things that were slipping by you when you were only participating in the physical exchange of sexual energy. And you're going to likely get really, really inspired about, like Nick said, all of the ways that life begins to open up for you. I think that because this society is so based in the material, and there is so much collective story around sexuality, whether it's selling sex or whether it's distracting ourselves with sex or whatever it is, it's really, really powerful in people because, like you said in the beginning, it's primally wired within us to want to procreate, to want to create more life. So when you learn to see this is a building block of society, of this planet Earth, of the human experiment. Okay, we are a collective of a lot of different DNA going on from around the cosmos, and there are beings who are watching the experiment unfold as we raise our vibration and gain access to more and more of our own ancient knowledge. Of all of this knowledge is available to us, and then we begin to apply it in more dynamic ways to our life. And we got free will going on. So they're just all up here watching. They're like, what are they going to do with this knowledge now? This is what we're being called to do with it, is that we're being called to up level. It requires being willing to play, to be silly, to play with yourself. Ah, you like that? I tried a little joking.
So hold on. I want to answer the question. There's a question about Ashley says, any recommendations to learn more on how to hone this energy? So first of all, having a strong sadhana or practice is definitely going to help you. Meditation, these type of things. But I do want to I want to put a plug for Sifu Paul Bogi. Bogi is going to be doing a video later on. Now, Bogi is leaving, like he's making comments right now with us. So in his tradition, in Qigong, and in Taoist traditions, they talk a lot about this. And I'm learning about it right now, too. I'm learning different techniques and stuff that I'm playing with right now. Yogis talk about this. So you can do some more research. But if you connect with Bogi, he's going to be doing a video later today talking about grounding that energy. So you can start that. You can start right there by connecting. And Bogi's, he is a teacher, but he's part of the Freedompreneurs Club. He's part of the Akashic Academy. He's part of the coaching. Bogi's our family. Like, he's one of our teachers. He's one of the things and doing his stuff. He's fantastic. So make sure you add him up as a friend and check out his video that he's doing a little bit later on, where he's going to be talking about and giving techniques about this. Whenever I'm done with working out or yoga, I have powerful sexual energy. Need to figure out how to channel that energy into something amazing. I'm excited. So Ashley, what I would say about that is, what happens is that when that energy is built, remember, it's going to want to find an outlet, right? It's going to want to find an outlet. It's literally going to want to express itself in a way, because energy wants to do that. If we only have one concept of sex, which is, oh, I'm going to only do it in the physical way, then naturally you're going to want to express it in the physical way. But then doesn't really lead to long-term success or fulfillment. So what you really want to do is look for creative projects when you're charged up like that, okay? So you feel it's in you, you're charged up, that passionate energy is there. Now direct it and give yourself an activity. Say, hey, you know what? I'm going to put this into my business, and I'm going to go create some content. Or if you don't have a business, into some creative projects, or go for a long walk, or whatever it is that you want to do. But basically, when you're in that state where you're charged up, think about a battery that's charged up. It's fully charged. It's when you put that battery into like let's say like a remote control car. You know, that car has the energy to be like, right? And it's going to fly, right? So similarly, when you're charged up like that, that's the time to actually focus yourself onto a creative project, onto something that's important to you. And even your thoughts are supercharged. That's why I heard someone said, I heard someone say, oh, I did it, but the opposite happened for me. See, the challenge with sex energy is raw energy. Yes. And if you're actually having all these negative thoughts, guess what? Yes. It's going to have the opposite effect of what you want, right? It's because the thoughts are supercharged. Everything you're doing is supercharged. So it's quite an advanced technique when you're playing with this. That's why I recommend at the beginning, that you actually just have to have a strong sadhana. You have to be in a practice where you can direct yourself. Once you learn to really control yourself, then you can supercharge yourself by stimulating yourself and then putting your thoughts into a positive way. So again, this is something that it's a practice. Remember, people take years and years and years. We're talking about it on a half-hour show. Don't think, oh, I'm going to master this tomorrow. This is literally something that you would have to play with and dedicate yourself to. And again, the foundation, in my opinion, from what I experienced so far, is you actually need a really strong sadhana, a strong daily practice without being supercharged. Then when you supercharge yourself, you're really going to be able to create some cool stuff in your life.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Coach Nick. I've enjoyed this conversation.
Me too. We are coming to the end. Emily, do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up today?
I do. I just really want to share with everybody again, be aware that this is quantum acceleration. You are going to experience a dynamic unfolding very, very quickly. And when that happens, you've got people like Coach Nick and I here to support you. Okay, when things start unfolding very, very quickly, it can be very helpful to have, can I say very any more times? To have a community, a soul family, to have mentors, to have leaders. We all teach and learn from each other constantly. It's not a hierarchy in this space. It is a place of support and mentorship and growth. And if you are finding that your acceleration is getting big and you want to direct that and you want to participate in the rise of the light worker, this movement that we're leading, by all means, bring it our direction. Reach out to Coach Nick and I. Let us know how we can support you through this process, because we're very accessible, very one-on-one, very hands-on with all of our community and everybody who's ready to learn how to harness and master these energies. So let's get supercharged. That's all I have to say.
Love it, guys. We do invite you to join the Akashic Academy. We do invite you to stay out. Check out the other shows coming up. We got the Feng Shui Lady coming up a little bit later today, so make sure you stay tuned. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Make it a weekly habit to connect with us. 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We love you. Have a wonderful week.
Bye.